So today, this is going to be so much fun because two incredible humans on the show with us today. We're talking about why has wellness and mindset and all these things become so huge in our industry. And these two are definitely at the forefront of that movement. Tonight, we have Yureesh Hooker. Yureesh has been in the beauty industry for over 20 years now. He's the founder and CEO of Yureesh Style and Education brand. It's dedicated to serving the whole person by designing and facilitating digital and live education. Yureesh also serves as the global director of development for Pureology. He is also an incredible hairdresser, a passionate and a purpose-filled teacher. And then we also have Carlo Novoa, who Carlo and I have a show every Thursday that we do called Testimony Thursday on IG. But Carlo brings over 10 years of passion for personal development. He's received his master's in spiritual psychology from UTSLA. He's a licensed cosmetologist, owner of his own salon suite, and he works with teams nationally and internationally, helping to cultivate a positive salon culture, deeper connection, stronger feeling of team mentality. And he's been working as a motivational speaker and is just someone that inspires the heck out of me. So please welcome in the chat, Mr. Yureesh and Mr. Carlo.
Hi, gentlemen. Brothers. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for having us, for having us. And I have to tell you, that whole curly curtain bangs, I just love the way that sounds. I'm like, just the title alone, sign me up, you know?
Yeah, that's not easy either. So Ashley's gonna rock it.
That's great.
So to get us started, I just want to ask both of you kind of the same question. You both can take a minute on what your thoughts are, but I'm curious from your point of view, why has this kind of subject of wellness and mindset and all of these beautiful things, why have they become so important and so talked about within our industry? Carlo, you can take it first if you'd like.
Sure. You know, I have to tell you, for me, what I feel, why this has become such an epic conversation, because I do believe it's an epic conversation, is because self-care, we have moved away so far from it that it became a thing. Think about it. Like, self-care became a hashtag. I have forgotten how to care for my own self, that now I need, you know, the industry, the wellness industry. Now I need, like, the beauty industry. And what I mean by I mean, like, people who are selling you, like, get back to your wellness, your self-care. And it's like, wow, I moved away from self-care so much that now I need to be reminded to take care of myself. So that's how far we have moved from it, that the only other direction to come back was to come back to go, hold on a second, I've been neglecting myself emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
What about you, Yureesh?
Yes to all of that. And I'm also thinking about the time that we've had recently. You know, honestly, what is that saying? You know, you can't read the label from inside the bottle.
Yes.
Right. So in other words, right, you're doing everything that you're used to doing. You're working 80 million hours. You're doing this. You're doing that. You're not eating right. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to reflect. I don't have time, I guess. Right. And you just go about, and it becomes its own engine. And I will say that I think that, I mean, things have been moving in this direction for a minute, you know, but I do believe that last year's experience really accelerated it, just like everything else. And I think along with time, I think along with Carlo's point of, like, wow, we need to remember to care about ourselves. Like, that's crazy. Right. And with some time, with a little bit of moments of reflection, I believe that people are seeing that value once they're off the wheel.
Yeah.
Or once they were off the wheel for a time. Yeah.
Yeah, and Shirley just mentioned, and I know that we kind of agree, that stylists got shut down during COVID to realize that we forgot to take care of ourselves, right? And, you know, we've all had this conversation before that, you know, things don't necessarily just happen for no reason. You know, this was a huge event, and by no means do we want to make light of what has happened in the past year or so. But at the same time, it took something to rock us this hard to get us to get back in check. And I know for both of you, you've had some things that, because of what we've experienced, you have had to kind of put into practice what you all preach too.
Yeah, but if I just may, Andrew, I just want to I'm so glad that you highlighted Shirley's comment, right? About stylists got shut down during COVID, so we could realize we forgot about ourselves. You know what I find so fascinating about that? Going back to what I said about how we move so far away from self-care, that I have heard and coach individuals personally that rather than taking a look at it from that place, they're so far removed from that there are more still in anger about what had happened versus taking that time for an opportunity to see where did I neglect myself. They're still in the blame game of, yes, but had this happened, then had that happened. And so like everything else is, but where's your focus on, right? So that's how far removed we are from wellness, from taking care of ourselves, you know, that whole mind, body, spirit connection, that rather than, to Shirley's point, you know, and I'm so glad you highlighted it, to go, wait a minute, perhaps my not being present with just this conversation is a symbol that I haven't been present on how I've been neglecting myself. Do you know what I mean? So I just wanted to, like, you know, just to add to what you were saying about that I just think it's so important. And I find it interesting that so many people are still not there yet, where they're not looking at how have I neglected myself? Where am I not caring for me? You know?
I think, you know, we were talking about this before, and, you know, to loop everybody in, right, is, and this is so relevant to what you're saying, Carlo. I believe that a lot of it is coming from fear. How do I know this? I know this because I experienced it. You know, it was real. Like, things were happening, you know, and again, it was through being able to connect with like minds, being able to ground me. It's like, yeah, I had a lot of breakthroughs. I had a lot of positivity during, you know, what's just taken place, and in certain respects is still taking place, because I don't want to act like, again, let me not fall victim to now not respecting the fact that we are clearly all one planet. And currently right now, while we're having this experience, there's other places in the world that are like really not, right?
Yes.
So let me not say, oh, and so it's done. It's like, because actually it's not. When it's done on the planet, it'll be done, right? But yes. I will say that from that place, it's like, what is it to rethink your identity? What is it to rethink who you are? And it's in a moment like that when you get to slow down, when you separate what you do from who you are, and you can look at it differently. And it's not that I stop doing what I'm doing; it's quite purposeful. I think I can speak for all three of us on this. We live a life of purpose, of service. It's like it's all good, but what does that look like? And then you got to. I found I had to take my ego out of it, you know, and really look at where the potential was, because there really is opportunity in everything. And to what Carlo just said, it's like, what has your attention? Because with everything here, there's over here. If you're looking at disaster over here, there's some kind of not disaster somewhere over here. Whether you can see it or not, that's a debate, right? But its existence is actually not a debate. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm curious, just, you know, those of you out there watching, how many of you have had some experience in the last year and a half that has really, or not have you had the experience, but the experience that we've gone through in the last year and a half, have you changed or shifted something about what you do or how you do it because of the experience that we went through in the last year and a half? And I know every single one of us on this screen can raise our hand and say, yes, we've changed something, not just a little bit, but pretty significantly. And we're seeing that throughout the beauty industry. So many people coming back into the salons and recognizing that, oh, it's time for me to do something completely different here. I think that's a big part of why this discussion is so important in our industry right now.
Yes, I agree. You know, Andrew, and I have to tell you, because I was talking about this today with Jessica Klaus on my Wednesday Women of Power Live on Instagram. And it's really interesting because I know that people come on your Wellness Wednesday that are not just in our industry. So I want to make sure that they themselves don't feel excluded, because I think what we're talking about lives in all industries, right? I mean, I got clients who are like going, oh, in my office, we're going only 2 days a week, and then the rest you're working from home. So people are finding ways in all walks of life on what honors, again, that pace that honors your humanity, you know? And what's interesting for me is I have an atelier. I have my private suite, and I work with an apprentice or an associate, depending on the culture you have in your salon, the name you give it. And when we were told we could come back, at least here in California, I believe that in the first thing, it was like 20%. Well, in a suite my size, and it's a pretty nice size suite, 20% is me and my client, and that's it. Like, it's not me and an assistant. And so I made sure that they were taken care of and found the right perfect place for them. So I started taking care of my clients again. I couldn't double book again, because double booking would mean I'm not following the guidelines as to who many people could be. And for me, I have to tell you, as I was having this conversation today, and things are opening up in a much wider percentage, and you could double book again, and certain salons have the capacity to be able to double book and still keep people distance. For myself, and again, it's whatever, I just want to say this again, it's a pace that honors your humanity, whatever that is for anyone. So by no means am I saying because I'm choosing this pace and you're not, I'm in the right, you're in the wrong. Absolutely not. But for me, what I looked at was, I have to tell you, I'm loving being me and my clients again. I'm not looking to get back into double booking. That's just not working for me. I am okay with, I love that Yureesh said earlier when he was talking about getting the ego out of the way. And again, if whoever you are, whatever you do, if that works for you, fantastic. But, I've been in situations where an artist behind the chair felt almost belittled to have to shampoo their client. Oh, I don't do shampoos anymore. I'm the cutter, or I'm the this. And I'm like, really? But that's how you started. Do you know what I mean? And for me, like, when my clients go, oh, Carlo, no one gives a shampoo like you. I'm like, right, girl, I got you. You know what I mean? And like, I take pride in that, because all of it is me. So I don't know, to be honest with you, as we were sharing earlier, again, Yureesh said to bring everybody in the loop backstage, that I was like, even though I can, I'm not going to. I'm going to stay in this space. This space honors me. I was telling the guys that on a busy day, which was unheard of for me, on a busy day now for me, I'm doing 4 or 5 people. And that's like, and I'm going, whoop, I'm tired.
Where's my fan?
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord,
Oh, yeah.
And that was and that for me was like, I would do that, and it's not even 11 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear it.
Right.
I hear it. And, first, there's a couple of things here. It's like, wow, in lockdown in Melbourne, Australia, I don't see your name, but wow, just again, sending you strength, sending you energy, and sending you positive thoughts. And a lot of these comments, no rigid rules with hair, try new things, new hairstyles. I'm loving these things, and to Carlo's point, it's neither right or wrong. It's either, honoring you or it's not, and what my solution is to that isn't necessarily yours or anyone's, and vice versa within that. And I will say that for me, I've had this happen now twice in 4 years, and it's hilarious because I worked in the same salon for 17. And I share this because in that salon, are you kidding me? I was doing hair. It was like 7 a.m. I literally didn't leave the chair till 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And again, please, can I get an amen in the chat? And I share this as well because that's what it was to be successful. We walked into break room. It was a badge of honor to be like, oh, I don't have time for this. It was a badge of honor to be like, oh, look how much stuff I got going on. It was a badge of honor to have 3 chairs. It's like, all I do is cut and style hair. How am I going to have 3 people in 3 different chairs? I got 2 hands. Like, what are we doing? And this was what we were, again, when you look towards it, you invite more of it in. And And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that I had the experience. I'm grateful that I had the experience that I jammed behind the chair like that. I'm grateful that I know what it was to work with an assistant, multiple assistants, raise them, what was the responsibility of that teaching and all of that stuff. I'm grateful I had the experience to know what it was to just stand on my feet for literally like 14 hours straight and just cut hair and connect. However, now a little over 20 years in, yeah, no. You know what I'm saying? And what's interesting about it is my first hit was when I left SF and came to New York, and I wasn't booked. I had no idea how much my identity was the most booked stylist in the salon. And it's like, no, you're actually Yureesh. You just happen to be the most booked stylist in a salon. You see? It's like, whoa, now we start moving that away. And then this experience had another one for me too. It's like, wait, another incarnation. Let me separate a little bit of this. I even found just my busyness. My brother, Carlo, you know me. It's like I'm always busy, always busy, always busy. It's like, you know what? Now I'm not always busy. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be always busy anymore. And it's interesting how that was an identity. You know, I'm the guy who's always busy. I fight with it to this day, but at least now I'm conscious.
Yes.
And I can respond, not react, differently to it. Yeah? In a way that, to your point, Carlo, honors myself more, yeah?
Yeah, no. I love that. I love that because that is so true. And I feel that is what we're seeing, you know, to what Andrew said. Like, why is this such a conversation now? Almost to the point where it's become a trend, right? And I think that it's become a trend, Andrew, because I think it's easier for some of us to even come through the door of self-care if we call it a trend. That's how far removed we are from it, right? So you see what I'm saying? So some of us will only understand to go through that door if I go, you know what, I'm going to follow this trend in self-care, right? Because this gives me, to Yureesh's point, that grace period to go from the identity of the most booked individual versus someone who's now concerned about their well-being, right? This is giving me that kind of like, you know, because that was my identity. And what I find so fascinating, you know, and again, I just keep reiterating this because I don't want anyone to feel that we are saying this, yes, that, no, or anything like that. But I also think it's very important for us individually to look at, because again, this is about your own self-care, your own wellness. Why is there such a thing right now? Is it possible that the reason I'm going to keep it in the eye, wasn't leaving my chair for a 12-hour day? Is it because of it took that much for me to actually make an okay living based on the culture of that salon and who took what and what went where and who did what? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So a lot of the times the thing is that, like, so there's identity that I've created of, you know, that person behind the chair for 12, 13 hours. Who is it really benefiting in the long, like, if I'm really going to be honest, right? Because, you know, I'm going to just leave it at that. Who is it really benefiting?
No, I
hear this identity that I've created. You know what I mean?
Hear you, brother.
And so I think that's why so many people are using the word trend to go into that. Because if I start to really self-care or tap into my wellness, emotionally, physical, spiritually, I might have to start asking myself those questions. And am I ready to create the change for when the answer to those questions show up in my life?
Yeah.
And in many respects, sorry, Andrew. Yes.
I was just going to say, I feel like we're at a really pivotal point too with all of this, because I think that the reason that it is such a trend is because we know that we need it right now. And I think that I was just talking to my friend Steve Gomez about this, and I'm going to actually have him on a future Wellness Wednesday to have this conversation from specifically a very business point too, is we are in this tipping point at the moment where we're seeing people all come back into the salon at such a busy pace, at such a hectic pace, that it's almost more so than before they left. And these are the people that during the time away from the salon had the experience that they said, I actually really like this. I like spending time with my family. I like not being at work 15 hours a day. But the demand is so high right now. There's such a demand from the clientele to serve that we're going back to these, not even just old habits, but almost more exhaustion. And so I feel like we're in such not a careful, but an important point with all of this wellness and self-care, that if we don't take this from, like you're saying, Carlo, from a trend to something that we actually bring in and embody and make part of what we do, make part of who we are at the salon, we are at a great risk to go back to the way things were and have the last 18 months of our life be just a blip. And that to me that's risky, right?
Yes.
So like how do we take this now and like not just have it be this blip?
If I may, Carlo?
Yeah, please.
And of course, what I would say is this. First thing, you can't go back someplace that doesn't exist any longer, right? Right. So truth of the matter is the business landscape has been it's been irrevocably changed. That's just the facts. Yeah. Education has changed. I know. I've spoken with you. I've spoken with Sam. It's shifted. Carlo, we know it's shifted, right? And either we're honoring that or we're going back to something that is no longer in existence. And I think what's relevant about that and where it comes to wellness is, again, it's not in the past, it's not in the future. The power is now, right? And it's like to really, what can I do now to best care for myself? And honestly answer that. Because what I found is, and you're talking about a kid who grew up broke in Hell's Kitchen. I thought it was money. It's not. It's not. You can make more money. You can't make more time. Yeah? And I'll tell you, for me, when it came down to it, when I was given a chance to like stop for a second and look at what I was doing, I realized that one, I was looking at what was abundance and looking at it from a place like it was scarcity. I was in abundance and I didn't even realize, like, I don't have to do all of this, like, right? And it's like confusing what those two things mean. Are we doing well, or do we have to be like all of this, right? Because the thing you sacrifice is you sacrifice time, right? So you can make more money if you want, but that's that. And I think one of the main things in wellness too is to really find those things that fuel you, fuel your heart, fuel your soul, fuel your body, and fuel your spirit. I think that is really the key to wellness. Those are really what those things are. And if we look in the now, sometimes the answer is, yeah, go to work. Rent is due. I dig it. You know what I mean? Sure. I got rent here. Please, I'm in New York City. You know, I definitely have rent. You know, right? And I share that. But then it's like, sometimes it's like, you know what? It doesn't look like that. It looks like take a walk. Looks like maybe make time to work out. You know, whatever. You know, cook a meal with your loved one. I don't know what it looks like. But just look in the moment and what will serve you best. And don't answer that question from fear. Answer it from truth. Your truth. Not mine or Carlos or Andrew's or anybody's. Yours. Yeah? That would be what I would say for me. Yeah?
Yeah. You know, and for me, I love, again, you know, I hope you don't mind, Shirley, but what I love, because this is what I was thinking of as we're asking the question. And I think you have to also look at, what are you willing to give up, right? What are you willing to give up for your wellness? What are you willing to give up? Are you willing to give up, to Yureesh's point, the identity of, I'm the busiest stylist here? Are you willing to give that up, right? Like Shirley says, listen to this. This literally sums it up. I gave up having to choose between grabbing a few bites or running to the bathroom. So scary to have to believe that way. And I'm like, and that's true for so many. I mean, that's the honest to God truth. And we think that's normal. We celebrate that. We will literally, to Yureesh's point, it's a badge of honor to come home exhausted to your partner, or to walk into the break room and go, oh my God, I barely had a chance to grab a bite. Really? I mean, what is going on? Are you part of the chain gang? I'm trying to understand. Like, why are you not able to, where are you working at? Where is this place that doesn't allow you to eat, for heaven's sakes, right? So I think it's important to look at what we are giving up, right? Because it's really interesting. You know what this reminds me of, Andrew, is when we had the panel with you, Zulu, and myself. Mm-hmm. And I love when Zulu said, right, people are in a merry-go-round, right? Yes. And they're in that merry-go-round and they're happy because it's pretty, right? The animals you're on is pretty. It's got the music, you know, and the lights, right? Yeah. So why would you want to get off? Of course. But what you have to realize is that the merry-go-round is not a path. It's a pattern.
What?
Right? So it's not leading you nowhere. You're literally just stuck in a pattern. But because it's pretty, you've chosen to be like, well, you know, it's not bad. If I'm going to be stuck in a pattern, it's not a bad pattern to be stuck in. Do you know what I mean? And so I think that's the lure for a lot of people. It's like, yes, but I am such and I'm doing this. And I think it's really important, you know, all of the things that, you know, we've been talking about. It's like to really be able to, one, be present in the now, right? And to go, what are the things that really matter to me, that really fuel my soul? What would be the thing that I would choose if I didn't care about anybody's opinion? What would that thing be? That's your choice. That thing you would choose, that thing that you would choose over anybody's opinion. If you could honestly say to yourself, what would I choose if I didn't care what anybody said? That's your choice. That's it right there. You know? And so I think that the path is getting us to that place for each and one of us. And I have to tell you from personal experience, it's a daily practice. It's a daily remembrance, because you have to ask yourself that of things on a daily basis, you know?
Yeah. And sorry.
Go ahead, Yureesh.
I was just going to say, it's so interesting too, because it challenges you to think and to question. When you're on this merry-go-round thing, sorry, I couldn't let it go. Carlo hit me with it. I got to, please. It's like, because on a merry-go-round, you don't have to think. You just keep doing it. It's like there's no thought to that. And there's ease in that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying like that's so stupid. It's like, got it. You know, I've been on many a merry-go-round myself in my life. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I do realize that it does take that consciousness to get off of it. Yes. Because is something that you're so used to. It doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it bad. It just does make it something that you're used to, and you're no longer conscious of the decision you're making. And then really where the wellness becomes lacking, and then needs to be replaced. Yes. With the consciousness of like, what am I doing? You know? Yeah. I love merry-go-round. Feeling that.
Yeah. And if I could just add one other thing, right? And if that is your choice, right, then what I would suggest is seek out a coach, right? Seek out an Andrew, seek out a Yureesh, seek out someone like myself to say, hey, Andrew, hey, Yureesh, this is my choice, but I need you to help me like maneuver it better. I need you to help me guide it better, right? I think that's important, because that way it's with the assistance of someone, right? So those are those moments where you go, perhaps someone could assist me in how to navigate this process. Perhaps someone could assist me in a game plan of like, okay, you want to work 13 hours behind the chair? Great. For how long?
Yeah. For how
long? What would be the time frame? You want to do it for another 2 years, another 5. So then my job or my intention would be to help you work those next 2, 5, whatever your plan is, in the best way possible. And I think it's important. And why do I bring this up? Not just to, you know, give us a commercial, but whoever you seek out, the important thing is to be able to say, for whatever reason, and why I'm saying this is because one of the things that I heard when Andrew was saying, I feel that a lot of people were having a hard time during the shutdown is because we've been so used to busying ourselves to avoid myself. Right? Mm-hmm. If I keep myself busy, I avoid my own self. And all of those things that I would keep myself busy with were shut down. So there I was, stuck with me. So rather than going, ooh, why am I so bothered by this? Why is this pushing up against me? I fought it. This is unfair and I can't believe it and blah, 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 right? And I'm not knocking anyone who did that or didn't, whatever. I'm just saying. So what happens the moment that things start to open up and we get back to some sense of normal, which what everybody keeps calling it. And to Yuresh's point, it's like, there's no normal if it doesn't exist anymore. So please, let's just get that conversation out of the way. But the moment they can, they go back to being busy again, because that keeps me away from dealing with what had me so bothered by not being busy.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. And the mind likes to be comfortable. And so it's going to do is its very best to keep you comfortable. And familiarity is what creates comfort. And just because we've had, since the beginning of last year as a completely different experience than we did before, doesn't mean that what was happening before that wasn't still more familiar to you than the last 16 months. So we start to get this taste of what used to be familiar, and it's like, oh, there it is. There's my thing that like I can feel comfortable again. I can feel some sense of that normalcy come back. And so of course we kind of run back to that experience. Lorraine's saying, I've never been normal.
Right. And I just want to say, Corey Matthews says, it's also about gaining and maintaining our own positive energy and how to give energy without depleting it from ourselves. And what's really interesting is we were having this conversation, I believe it was in like a thing with the Lady Cartel or something. And I was sharing this, right? We've misunderstood the whole, that saying, my cup runneth over, right? Yep. What do I mean by that, right? What runs over my cup, that I can offer to you. Only what runs over. What's in my cup, halfway, third way, a little bit more than 3/4 of a way, that's for me. If I give you that, I won't have for me. But what runneth over, that's on you. I got you. That's for you. You see, and that's the thing that people are misunderstanding. They're like, we have bought into the belief system that what makes me a good human being is if I take what little I have in this cup and I give it to you. Well, when you need more, there will be no me for you to come back to and ask again, because I've given it all. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes.
And to that, it's the paradox, right? Ultimately, we want to be giving, but we need to be selfish. Because I can't give away everything. I have to keep some for myself. So it's where's that balance, right? We're all very significant individuals, yet we're all not that significant. It's a paradox.
Yes.
Right? You know what I mean? And this is one of these two. The one thing I can say with all of those paradoxes is that it's all about the balance. And if you're choosing between literally taking a handful of nuts and shoving it in your mouth and peeing, which I've done, and you've been working for 14 hours, I can tell you automatically that is an unbalanced existence. And I think it's a Japanese saying, there's no good or evil, there's only balance and imbalance. Right? And I believe that to be true for everything. And I believe this is the thing about this wellness, is it's inviting us to be more balanced. And Andrew, I would like to say something that I think is relevant, and this is, please, you're my brother, and I don't mean to debate, but I will say this: the mind actually doesn't like to be bored. The mind dies when it's bored. The mind starts forming new pathways as long as it stays challenged. Actually, that's one of the things. My grandfather had Alzheimer's disease. When people are fighting memory diseases, it's like you look for a certain amount of familiarity, but it's just like anything else, just like that balance. You want one foot in the familiar and one foot in the unfamiliar, right? So we have one foot in the unfamiliar, whatever we're doing, right? And then we have a foot in the familiar. I mean, through all of this, we're still creative. We're still entrepreneurs. We're still professionals. We're still innovative. I mean, all of that didn't just disappear. That's still familiar. Let's not act like all of a sudden all of those qualities left all of us. That's not what happened, right? So now we have a new familiar. We have a new landscape. I'm open to that, right? And it can seem like nothing I know or have known is relevant in this new landscape. Patently untrue. When it comes down to it, and this is proof of it, the things that Carlo, you do, my brother, are proof of it. The things that you do, brother Andrew, are proof of it. Is the truth of the matter is our business isn't connecting with people. And I don't care how that looks. There's always going to be a need for that because people need to connect with other people. And that is the basis of our business. And quite frankly, to Carlo's point as well, successful business in anything. Any job you have, what is it about? It's my relationships. It's my connections. It's my network. You ask a banker, they'll tell you that. Ask anybody, they'll tell you that. And this is something that we need to remember we always have. So that we are in those unfamiliar moments, we can keep staying challenged and not fall into the trap of familiarity. You know, it seems easier, but in the end, it's actually a lot harder.
Yes. I love that. And I just want to honor and celebrate Kel Bell, who says, I gave everything in my cup until it drawn on me. I have to keep what's in it. I went back to cosmetology school, which is what I'm doing, and working on self-growth. Good for you, love. Good for you. Congratulations. That's amazing. That's fantastic. And how perfect. So get this, Kel, how perfect that the universe, life, whatever you're comfortable with calling it, is all on your behalf that has you listening to a conversation for an industry that you're about to get into, right? Meaning that you now start going, wait, hold on a second. How do I want to enter this conversation of me now being a licensed cosmetologist? How do I want to start? What patterns do I want to start creating, right? Where do I want to show up in my career, even from the beginning? Well, it's not going to be from fear, right? It's not going to be from fear, and it's going to be from a clear place. I posted this today. I just wanted to read this today, right? Because I think what's important when it comes to our own wellness, mind, body, and spirit, is to finally get to a place where you love yourself enough, to Yureesh's point, where you no longer think it's okay that I'm going to grab a handful of nuts and throw them in my mouth and go to the bathroom. Like that you get to a place where you love yourself enough where you go, that is no longer okay. And so it's about boundaries. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. Simultaneously.
Say that again. For the people in the back.
Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously.
Yeah.
If one person, if it's not happening simultaneously to what we've been talking about, then there's a disbalance. And when there's a disbalance, then comes discord. And when there's discord, then comes resentment.
And ease.
Yes. And so, so it's really important to fully understand that what this really is about, what this thing that now some people are calling a trend, is just basically us getting back to a place where we love ourselves enough to keep a pace that honors our humanity.
Yes,
absolutely. And in the end, and I think that this is something profound too, and Andrew, you intimated this, is like, because the demand is so much and everybody's feeling like this is what they have to do. Again, you're right. And I know because I've felt like that. And I can say patently, actually, no, you don't have to do that. And everything we do is a choice. And it's easy to forget that, because anyone who loves what they do, whatever it is, any industry, again, I love that you keep saying that, Carlo. Yeah, this is any industry conversation, right? But I will say that anybody who truly loves what they do, it becomes a calling. It's not just a job. Got it, right? And within that, you can get lost in it. I say it's so interesting. It's not that I don't like it. It's not that I don't want to serve more people. It's not that I don't want to cut more great haircuts. It's not that I don't want to teach more great classes and meet more incredible artists and more incredible teams. It's never that. But at a point, it's like, when can I now say yes to me? And that's really what I've learned over the time that I've been blessed to have this career that I'm so happy I've loved from the beginning up until this very moment. And it's changed a lot. But I will say that is something that really strikes me, because that's what's so tricky is, you love it, but it's like, you got to hit that point where it's like you're loving it, but like with awareness or something. I don't even know what the word is or how to even frame it. But
no, I hear you. I love that so much because
I dig it, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that so much because I love, and what I got, here's what I got out of it. So I'm going to share this with you guys. What I got out of it is that your calling should should feel like a calling, not a scream.
I know that's right.
Right? The calling should feel like a calling and not a scream. If you're going to that calling agitated, that's a scream. That's not a calling.
That's a screaming. Different.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You're answering to a scream. You're not answering to a calling. You know?
And it's true.
Yeah. That kind of scream when your mom would say your full name when you knew you were in trouble.
Yeah, it's like middle names. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, middle name and everything.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know
Carlo
about that.
Alfredo Novoa, ven aquí. You're like, oh shit, here we go.
And to that point, honestly, because Hannah has a great point, there's a tipping point of being too busy where you can't provide quality service, and ultimately you lose that money. And I think that's so key, Hannah, because to the point, once we start to get into that place where it is a scream, where it's just this like overwhelm, we are so much less effective. And this is I think the single biggest thing that our industry has to change perspective on, which is that somehow, like we've all been talking about, that killing ourselves and working 16-hour days is the path to success. And if we change the thought process, and Carlo, you just changed your thought process dramatically recently with how much it takes to make enough, to do enough. And you had to change your pricing to do that, probably. I doubt that you could cut half of your clientele out of a day and still make enough to have that same lifestyle. But that's old school perspective, right? That numbers, quantity equals that number that we have to achieve. So what did you do to basically and say, no, I can have this, and I can also have this?
Yeah. Well, first of all, what I believe is that 90% of life is mindset, right? So that's Absolutely. First and foremost, right? 90% of how we show up in the world is the way our mind shifts. And if I'm going to come to this decision from a place of fear, then I'm going to just keep getting those level of results, right? I have to show up to this decision with a place of, this didn't show up for me in my awareness if I didn't have everything I need to fully manifest it. It wouldn't have come up. I would have kept thinking, no, double your time, work more people. But no, somehow this thought, because I became conscious enough, I became present enough, right? So that thought comes up. So that's one. Number two, I think what's really important is take away, I want us to stop glamorizing the hustle. I'm going to get my hustle on. I'm going to hustle. No more of that. But what is important, though, to honor is that life reminds us that it's not about this or that, but it's about this and that. So now that I'm not working those long days behind the chair, what else that I love could I be of service? Oh, look at me making money off of something I started doing, which was something else that I loved. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So now so it doesn't mean that I'm just not standing behind the chair, but now what I've done is I've left an openness, not only in my awareness, but in my life for other sources of income to show up.
And opportunities.
But why? Because now I'm open to it. I'm going, working behind the chair for 12 hours is not a pace that honors me. Got it. That's the first step. The moment you do that, the universe, right? The universe then responds according to your belief system. The universe goes, oh, great, Carlo, you now believe that 12 hours a day is not for you. Fantastic. Now we're going to give you that path that honors that consciousness. And that's how it works. It's not magic. It's not Harry Potter. That's how it works. Referrals. I keep telling people, for me, very respectful. When someone says something to me that's not true for me, I will say to them with my audible voice, I'll go, oh, I see that that's how it is for you. But inside of my head, I'm going, cancel that thought. That's not my truth. right? What do I mean by that? Is that people would say, oh my God, right now, no one's referring clients to anybody. No one's referring people. It's so hard to get a referral. And I would go, oh, I see that. That's how it is for you. Oh, what? That's happened. You think so? And I was like, that's not my truth, right? I'm telling you, I've had where it's been like 1 referral to 2 referrals a week of new clients. And my business is word of mouth. So again, it's just be present to who you are, and take that first step from a place of courage and resilience and not of fear, and watch how the world starts to respond to you from that place.
Mm-hmm. I hear that. And you know, it's so funny. And I tell this story a lot when I do like business development, personal development events, that really my most miserable time in my career was when I was actually probably one of the most monetarily successful, right? Because we're like, let's not equate amount of money with quality of life. It's like, I wasn't even home. What are you even talking about? Like, right. I didn't have, what do you mean? I don't even have a life. There is someone who said, I need to honor this one, was really good. Shirley Nelson, money pales in the place of making connections with people. I mean, please, let's highlight that because that's really relevant. And I have to tell you, money pales in the face of a lot of things, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying that from a place of we don't need it. I like nice stuff. I like art books. I like stuff. Great. But on the flip side, how much stuff do I need? I need more time than I need stuff. I've had nothing. I've been homeless. Do you know what I mean? I know what it is to literally have my crap in a shopping cart and pushing it down the street. Got it. I'm not afraid of nothingness. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. What I'm finding is interesting is that actually, and I say this from a place of like, wow, this is real. I probably at certain times in my career when I've been hustling, like Carlo's talking about, I have been literally more stressed out then than I was when I was pushing my crap down the street in Manhattan in the cart, homeless. And I'm not saying that's great. I'm not comparing. What I am saying is, you know, when you say yes to this, you say no to that. When you say no to this, you say yes to that. You open up space. Creativity and innovation can't happen if you have no space. I can say that. And that's very much the opportunities that my brother Carlo was talking about right there. It's not like they just showed up. The issue is now you have space so you can like look around for 2 seconds and actually see them. If we want to create, if we want to innovate, if we want to move into other forms of revenue, if you want to free up time, all of this takes time to innovate and create and reimagine the way that's going to look. And if you don't give yourself enough time and enough care yourself, if you don't do that, ultimately you'll never see another way. Because I'm not going to say it's there. It's just a matter of slowing down enough so it's not like you're on a highway speeding past like houses and trees and stuff. You got to look at what's happening, and you got to go a certain speed to be able to see it and appreciate it and to take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So to do this, to take advantage of it, to take the time and see it. And I want to celebrate Corey. Good for you, Corey, for taking that step, taking Mondays and Wednesdays off to take your 10-year-old son to the pool. So cool, so fantastic. Shirley's saying that she's only working 6 hours, at the salon. This is great stuff. And it's really, it makes my heart happy to see that people are actually taking these steps that they said they wanted to take coming back to work. So fantastic. So for those that are still in this place of like, I want to protect my time. I want to slow down. I want to do these things. How do we take the wellness aspect away from it just being a trendy thing we post on our social media to actually something we do something with?
I always say for me, it sounds kind of, I don't know, like a catchy phrase or cliche-ish or whatever, but before you reach out, reach within. You know, start with like a very simple morning practice of just checking with yourself. It doesn't have to look like nothing. It doesn't have to look like spiritual, nothing. Just
Like
before you do before you do anything, before you check your phone, before you turn on the television, spend 5 minutes with yourself and just check in, right? Just connect with yourself first. Just take those 5 moments, those 5 minutes at least. And if you say to yourself, oh my God, with my schedule, I don't have 5 minutes in the morning, that's the person who needs to take those 5 minutes the most.
Please. And I love what you said, Carlo, and I'm going to add to it because it starts small. That's the main thing I would say is like, if like you really feel that space, great, that's fear, got it. You know, just switch something, do something different, right? Like maybe make sure that you take time at the end of the night and like read for literally 5 or 10 minutes. I don't read enough. It's like, just do something different. Do something you love. Remember what you used to do when you were a kid? You know, I got the opportunity during all this to illustrate a book. You know, I haven't drawn for 15 years because I've been too busy running around, right? It's like, what are these things that you love? We're all more than one thing, you know, and start looking at what those other things and those other pieces of yourselves are. And like I say, just take a couple of minutes. I love that, Carlo. And it's really good in the morning and at night in particular.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just a little bit in the morning, maybe a little bit at night. And again, like literally minutes. And you'll see that you like it.
Yes.
And what you like, you will make more time for. And what you make more time for, you will begin to appreciate more. And I also love in these things that I'm hearing, and I think this is important too. When we create time, time is a gift. Use it well. Telling me you're going to go to the pool with your son. Now, yes, right? When we, again, if we're going to say no to this, great. What are we going to say yes to, right?
Yes.
Make more time, but make it something that really does fill you and doesn't drain you more, yeah? And take that, make it little bits, and then add when you see success. And if something ain't for you, if you want to try something new, hey, I want to try, I don't know, yoga, and then you try it, I don't really like it. Okay, that's okay. What's the next thing I'd like to try? Do you know? So that you just keep moving forward until you find that thing that feeds your body, mind, and soul. Do you know? And then once you have found it, you'll double down, and it'll take on a life of its own in your life. Yeah.
Yes. And Yureesh, what are you doing, or what are you offering right now out in the world that they could stay connected to, or if they needed some support, where can they connect with you best?
Oh my God, please. You can visit me at yureeshstyle.com. It's my website. I'm offering coaching, executive level coaching, as well as all levels of coaching, to be honest with you. I've got a lot of tutorials on there. I've got some hair cutting tutorials on there. I've got some facilitation type of tutorials up there. Some of them are free. Some of them are actually very low price, because I understand, again, what we've all been doing in the year. And again, it's like I can still do my thing and still serve. And those are the main things that it's all on that yureeshstyle.com site, you know, and I look forward to serving anybody on their journey in this and in, you know, many things. Yeah, that's really what it's about. Yeah, thank you.
For sure.
Beautiful.
What about for you, Carlo?
You know, lit from within. That's my thing in all platforms, lit from within. And, you know, I am doing my personal coaching. I'm working with teams, and I'm just loving right now. And I just want to offer this to you, to your audience. We're talking about checking in the morning and at night. This is really easy. So somebody was writing on their time to get my notebook for some gems. I'm about to give you guys something, right? So this is something I work in a program, and it's the 3 C's of an empowered individual, right? So at night, you would connect with yourself, and you would ask yourself these 3 C's, right? Did I create? Did I contribute? Did I congratulate? Right? So it's a really great way to check in with your day, check in with your own self. Start with the I first. What did I create today? How did I contribute today? And how did I congratulate today? Do that as your bookend of checking in with yourself. and see if that doesn't start to create a different focus in how you honor the pace you're living.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And what a great start too. It's profound yet so easily accessible. Yeah. That's not a 1 hour long thing. Just reflect.
That's it.
So powerful, man. So powerful, brother.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Cool. Y'all, thank you so much for spending your time with us tonight, because I know that I got a lot out of it. I can see through the comments that the crew here got tons out of it. And, please, y'all, stay very connected to Yureesh and Carlo. And they're just good humans that you want to stay connected with. Guys, please stay in the green room after I pop you out so we can just wrap up after I kind of close up. But please type into the chat some gratitude. Let's show these two gentlemen some gratitude. And I'm sure I'll have both of you back on Wellness Wednesday probably pretty soon, because it's always a good time with you here.
It's always a good time to be here.
Thank you. I love it.
And thank you for all the love that I'm seeing in this chat. Carlo, I mean, are you kidding? I'm grateful. That's it.
Yes, absolutely. Vice versa. Same here. Thank you, everybody, for the love. The comments have been fantastic. Thank you for your energy.
Yeah, please.
Definitely. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.